what do you think the average, what's average age, average experience? Give me an average age of your patients. Is it 40 years old? Is it 35? Is it 28? I know it's everyone.
You know what? You know what? I would probably say that they're probably in their 30s.
Okay. So here's my question. So your dad, assuming Mr. Baker, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he was that for you as a young boy, as a child, and I don't know how verbal he was. He probably just got up every day and did it, and you learned by seeing him do it, right? Led by example. So you learned that at an early – they'd say the best time to learn a language when you're a young baby or a kid and young. Best time to be able to learn to play a musical instrument when you're young.
Mm-hmm.
Can you get involved with these 35-year-old people if they didn't have a Mr. Baker to think the right way?
It depends on where their hunger is coming from now. And so you actually forced me to reflect on the age because I never thought about it in this way. But 20-year-olds come out with a lot of ambition, but they haven't done much. So in their mind, especially today, there's a lot of entitlement. It's I don't need this, I don't need that. I can just go and do it myself, exist in them. Then when you tell them something costs $200,000, they're looking around like, why don't somebody just give me the money? And it's like, well, it just doesn't grow out of the ground that way. You've got to actually do some things for that money to show up. 50, 60, 70, they're not as ambitious anymore. They kind of slow that train down and they're just holding on so they can go stop.
Yep.
You know, so now that I'm thinking about, well, you've got people trying to climb the mountain. You turn 34, 35, 36, you're trying to hit that next plateau at that company. And you're trying to pull something off that's going to show favor for you.
Yep.
Or you've been working for 10 years at a place or 4 places over 10 years. You hated all 4 of them. And you're like, well, heck, I'm going to go do it myself now. I'm 32 and I got a wife and I got to figure some stuff out, but I got a couple bucks on me. I'm going to go figure it out. We get a good mix of that. The corporate person that's got something to lose, or the person like, yeah, I'm going to really step out on faith this time.
So you got to be Mr. Baker. So if we get you 10 clients or no clients or 1 client from this, or patients that realizes like, man, I need to go to the doctor. I got to go to the business. So that's the responsibility you got.
Absolutely. You know, and what's funny about that, and I tell my team, is that it does not matter what we say. A lot of times they're looking at what we're doing in that way. And I always tell our clients, they always ask us, give us an example of who you've worked with. And they want those examples. And I say, well, heck, do you ask your gynecologist that? Like, I'm your doctor. So I'm under NDA with pretty much all of my clients. I say, this is how you determine it. What's inside of you? Where are you trying to go? Do you know how to get there? And are we speaking to the very thing that you're deficient in? You should be able to see that if you've been chasing it.
If they're asking you who your typical client is, they need to be one.
Exactly right. And they'll do that. And it's, well, no, I'm speaking to everything that you have a problem with. That's how you know something is real. We're not selling you what we have. You've told us something. We said insert, 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 insert. And oh, by the way, you didn't say that, but you also have a problem with that too, don't you? How did you know that? Because we know what we're looking at.
Yep.
That's how you know. But a lot of times they're not sure what they should look at. And so now you start looking in the wrong directions. Once again, I'll give you another football analogy. But, you know, there was a time, you know, guys like Chad Johnson would say, I used to watch films of this guy until I got so good that watching films of that guy didn't help me anymore. Right. Yep. So what does that then mean is that he knew what to look for. Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of times business owners don't know what to look for. So they're looking at all the wrong people thinking, oh, I should use that solution because it was on social media or it was on Facebook, not knowing that or YouTube that stuff's not all real. Right. You can try to emulate someone else. And it's like, well, do you know how they actually got their money? You're not willing to do what they did to get their money.
Yep.
But we've been in back rooms and we're like, oh, that's where it came from.
Yep. You know, the thing that's talked about your income and your success is similar to the top 5 people you hang around and you spend the most time with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How do you feel about that in your life? I know that it's exactly evidenced in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this challenge. You know, I was poor. I was poor, didn't have a lot of money. That's probably the hustle and the grind part, right? Mm-hmm. But a part of it. Great mom, not a good dad. But I look back at some of the people I was friends with when I was 20 and 22 and 20. It's not that I don't like them. It's not that I don't remember where I was.
Mm-hmm.
But I've just gone to a new place. I'm not forgetting where I came from. I just got to a new place. Mm-hmm. And I look back and I look at these 4 or 5 people I spend this amount of time with. And, man, it's because, to your point, you level up to the people you're with. And if you want to go to the next level, you got to start getting around different levels of talent people that know more than you. And so
Mm-hmm.
is that something you think that is it's pretty exemplary of what maybe you went through, of what your clients could go through? If you got to level up, you got to get around some more people, some different people.
Well, in that case, I say it's correct, especially in this instance. There's a lot about international business that I'm still uncertain about. Even though we've done work in 8 countries, 5 continents, we're about to do a large deal. We just got agreements, a large deal in Brazil, 1,000 manufacturers out there. There's still things in Brazil that I'm uncertain about, but we have a Latino wing. So therefore, I'm thankful for Renan Delgado that he can walk us through the culture. He speaks the language. He's telling me things that there's no way possible I would have known. I've never been there. I don't have a great historical reference for it. We understand the business practices. So we know how to infiltrate those. Here's my point, is that in order for me to level up in Brazil, I better know someone that's already leveled up in Brazil.
100%.
Right. And so therefore I have to be under Renan and say, Renan, you take the lead on this one, because I have to learn from you so that when we get the next one, then the next one, now I understand what that looks like. And so that's very much the case. Now, when it comes to your individual success, I always make this statement to anybody that's in my close circles. I say, you're responsible for your own future. No one else is. So you better create the image for that future, and then you better find out how to go access it.
That's serious. My reality. That's a serious high level of self-awareness, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
To really be able to get there and go there.
Absolutely.
And so
that you look at it and say, that's the GPS. There it is right there.
Yep.
Now, I may not know all the terrain, but I better go find out who's been there.
Yep.
And I better make sure that I'm protected so that I can get there.